Dahoodpostman, Professor Melly Mel. This is not a glorification or a glamorization. This is an education. You can go anywhere in the world and get a couple of lives, but you come right here to get the truth. Be sure to click the notification bell, like, subscribe, and share. Drop a comment down below. So when the dope content hit, it'll feel like it's the first and the 15th. Lock the door. Professor Melly Mel, the Hood Postman. Who I got?
You got Grasshopper here, and I'm sitting here with my brother Baby, and I want to say one thing pertaining to his age group and my age group. I'm one of the original Compton Crips, right? Who did our part, rolled with number Crips, did our work, put in work. But I'm gonna tell these youngsters something. I went to prison. I knew Baby before I went to prison. He was a little kid. When I went to prison, and me and Baby went to met at Chino. And when I met this brother in Chino, we walked that yard as Crips, as they did in my generation. Not feuding with one another. But I'm going to sit here and say, okay, I cripped in the 70s and the 80s and stuff. Here come Baby from Park Village, born and raised, and I'm going to let him come in with his age group. And that's how we cripped back in my day.
So, Baby, I want you to give us the understanding of how you were taught and how you learned that structure and what it meant to uphold that structure.
Right. So I started gangbanging in 1989. I got put on Park Village at the age of 19. At the age of 9 years old. Our belief system growing up was if you was a Crip, you didn't beef with other Crips. You know, me personally, growing up in the 90s, I went to every single Crip hood. If you a Crip, I'm over there with you. You know, I'm not against you, I'm with you. I see you get into it with somebody, I'm over there, I'm getting in it with you. You know, because to me, growing up in the 90s, being a Crip, it was a part of being a family. You know, we was brothers. You know, and the Cripplettes, those are our sisters. You know, I never seen the generations that is now back then, growing up in the 90s. You know, it was way different than what it is now. Right now, it's like we facing genocide because we killing up each other. How could you sit there and call yourself my brother when if I turn my back, you're going to shoot me because I got more money than you? You know, back then you couldn't rob homies. You know, Crips wasn't robbing Crips. We wasn't fighting over your girlfriend like me. None of that. And if we did, we went to the boulevard and we took care of that like grown men. You know, left it out there. You fought with your hands. You didn't fight with a gun.
You grew up in an era where I believe that crack cocaine kind of changed the dynamics of what it was all meant to be and where it was going. I think that the government and just how in terms of how they have COINTELPRO has always been and it still is and it's still going right to this day. And what we don't understand is that we got to get ahead of this stuff because you're right. We were all brothers, you know, and whether you live on the east side of Compton, west side of Compton, Compton was just Compton. We never allowed, and I'm going to say this, LA politics to seep into what we had going on in Compton. And somehow the LA politics seeped in now it has, because it's all cancerous because once cancer hit, it becomes metastasized and it spread. And you make excellent points as to what you saw and how you witnessed, but you know the structure of it wasn't what it is today. It wasn't meant to be that. And I'm not making amends for it or none of that. But what I am saying that it certainly has changed, and I can understand definitely where you're coming from, baby. And I just appreciate that you was able to come say it. Not many are willing to say it, and it's important that we get this message out there in that way. But go ahead, and if you care to add on to what you're saying.
All right, so me personally, I'm a third generation Crip. My grandparents was Crippin'. You know, my uncles, aunties, cousins. You know, so with me, it wasn't okay. You could go over here and do that. No, it was I'm born into this. You know, God had a purpose for me. And every person that I come across, that come across my path, they sit there and seem like, dang, that's a big ass dude. But they don't want to talk to me at first until I smile. Once I smile, they're like, hey, how you doing, sir? But it's a facade, or should I say stigmatism, that they got placed upon the black community. You know, go get rich, sell dope, get this big ass car, you know. And I'm gonna be honest with you, you don't go far when you make fast money. You know, you can do whatever you want to do to come up, but sure enough, it's gonna end. And when it ends, that woman you thought you had on your team is gonna be gone too. Excuse me, because she's only there for what you got right now. And what you got right now is what she want. That's the fame, that's the fortune, that's the hood fame. But the minute you get locked up, she gone. You know. So the better way to put it is to be a young black man growing up in Compton, California. I had to think outside the box. You know, as time changed, you know, the guns got worse, the laws got even worse. You know, and I had to think outside the box. You know, one part of thinking outside the box is setting a goal for myself, saying, okay, what do I want to be at? What do I want to do? You know, one half of my family on my dad's side, they all celebrities. On my mom's side, everybody crippin'. You know, so it's like, it's not a hard choice for me to live in the suburbs because that was part of my ultimate plan on thinking outside the box. Where am I going to go where I can stay out of trouble? You know, how am I going to live once I get there? How am I going to set these goals for myself instead of regressing and going back into the person that I was before? You know, the person that we was before was a monster. Okay, as soon as everybody see you, either somebody gonna call the police on you or you gonna get smoked. You know, and I'm a big ass dude. I'm 6'6", 330 pounds. So when people see me, they like, dang, here come this dude. They look like Debo right there. I'm just gonna leave. You know, and this is what I come across. So instead of me going back to how I was in the 90s and how I was as a kid and things like that, after seeing everything that I see now, especially after doing a lot of prison time, it is to the point to where I say, you know what, I don't want to go down that path. I'm from this generation, not this generation.
How did Grebo's persona impact the Park Village curriculum? Because he serves a big personality. I ran
Right.
into him when I was like one of the first times I ever went to jail or whatever, and he was already under structure, and he had like a militant mindset to where he set up the whole 9500 for blacks and taught us how to survive in that moment because at that time we was at war with the Latinos, right? And the way he did it, man, I'm looking at this dude and I'm thinking like, man, this is smart. Just on how he put it together and how he had us all on point. But at that time, I didn't know that he was coming from a CCO perspective or even a militant perspective. But generally, it worked.
Where do you think he got that structure from? Growing up behind the Panthers in Park Village. That's how we ran in Park Village. So when we got started banging, we was already organizing that mindset. You know, we fell in with the Grandies and Nutty Block. You know, we was exposed to things. See, back then, people was crippling their minute in their heart. You know, and like he was saying, baby, I go to Spook Town, any neighborhood in Crip, Jordan Down Projects, West Side, and we partied, we gambled, we did licks together. It was all cripping. You know, that's why we should meet up at Will Rogers Park. There was no problems on what hood you was from, as long as you was cripping. The point I'm saying is this here. See, Bebe did a long stretch. He was down with the hood, and that's why he's well known. But what I'm trying to put to the brother's head is when you got a homeboy who put in work for the hood and so forth, representing to the end, as I could prove he did, where was the support at when he was there doing that time? You see what I'm saying? Where was the homie support at? So we can't let someone represent the hood and then they go down and get a long stretch such as Baby and a whole lot of other homies I noticed getting out at the 38, 32 flat. They were struggling there because there was none of the homies supporting them. You see what I'm saying? So that unity they have today is nothing like it was when we was coming up.
Right.
Baby's in the 80s and the 90s categories, you know what I mean? And that's when I wanted to get into that little Vic thing, you know, because me and Lil Vic didn't just do time in California. So you didn't know me and Vic ran into each other in Arizona State Prison. See, after he had moved to Arizona, I ran into Vic on the yard. Accidentally. But Lil Vic was known for stealing cars. He was our G-man. You know, we needed a stolen car to go out and do something.
And that's not talked about enough because a lot of people, when you talk about hoods, right?
Yeah.
Everybody don't play the same position. Just like on a baseball team,
That's
you
right.
have first base, second base, shortstop,
Exactly.
third base, back catcher, pitcher, outfield, right field, left field, center field. So in gang culture and gang communities, everybody's position is not going to be the same. And we don't have to name out the positions or nothing like that. But what I'm saying is that we can't expect one to be if you got that fight game, you thump, then that's who you is. You understand?
Right.
That's
But then you got guys that know how to go get the cars.
And see, with me growing up, I started out jacking people on the corner of Wilmington and Alondra. I started robbing people at the age of 10 years old with a butcher knife on the corner of Wilmington and Alondra. You know, and this just to reflect back how the unity was. When you come across this one car, a Hispanic dude get out the car and he say, "You want my money? Get it." You know, and I'm looking at him like something ain't right. You know, so he get in his car, he in the turning lane, he turned left, and I didn't see him pull in behind Louisiana Chicken. You know, so I'm going to go get another car to rob another car, and this Hispanic dude come running across Alondra with a bumper jacket, chasing me, saying he gonna kill me. You know, so I took off running, up tripping and falling. You know, a couple of older homies pull up. They pull up in a candy apple green 6'4" rack top. Pull up and say, "What you doing to my little homie?" And chasing me, you know. And that right there, that meant a lot because I could have been dead. You know, I could have been dead that morning. But at the same time, how I this is how I survived growing up in the streets of Compton. You know, I went from jacking people with a butcher knife to stealing cars.
So you actually done a 25-year sentence, 25 years straight.
Straight.
What led to that 25 years?
What led to it? Bad decisions. Bad decisions. You know, because I didn't catch my case in Compton. You know, I decided I'm gonna go get some money from somewhere else. You know, I went somewhere, you know, allegedly. Allegedly I went somewhere and it went all bad. You know, the sheriff kicked in my door, you know, beat me to a bloody pulp. I was hogtied. You know, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I was that guy. You know, facing the newspaper, everything. I was that dude that they was actually looking for.
In retrospect, being able to look back on things, how does that make you feel at this point, knowing that you could have done something different or you could have been something other than what you?
Um, it kind of it kind of opened up my eyes to where I should have made a different decision. You know, because I had offers, I had opportunities. I played football, I played basketball. You know, it was there for me to leave. It was there for me to leave Compton, to go somewhere else. Go stay with your auntie out in Missouri. You know, but if I did that, if I made those decisions to leave Compton, then, you know, on how I was then, I would have went somewhere else to another state, you know, and I would have been a bad influence for the locals in that other state. Because I done been to other states. I done been to Spokane, Washington, Louisville, Kentucky, everywhere. And at the same time, me and my crew, we was bad influences, you know. And if we didn't like you and we didn't like the way you looking at us, you're going to get approached. You know, if you from the wrong side and you wearing the wrong color, you got a beat down coming.
Straight out of Compton, original streets. Grew up with the lion, see what the criminals see. Now he a giant and a pivotal key. Got it down to a science, this the visual streets. He came up with Bullet, he came up with Turtle. Live life to the fullest, he put it all in the journal. We dodging them bullets, we jumping them hurdles. It's the Hood Postman, we in the streets universal.
Hood Postman, Professor Belly Bell. This is not a glorification or a glamorization. This is an education. You can go anywhere in the world and get a couple of lives, but you come right here to get your truth. Be sure to click the notification bell, like, subscribe, share, drop a comment down below. So when the dope content hit, it'll feel like it's the first and the 15th. Lock the door.